back. We are here live at the hospitality room here at the Alabama EMS Conference. Coming to the table, we have Dr. Ferguson. You want to tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved with the Alabama EMS Challenge?
Yeah, great. Thanks for having me out today. So EMS Challenge, we started this about 11 years ago. Years ago, it seemed like there were a lot of physicians involved in pre-hospital care, but the number of docs involved seemed to kind of have dwindled a little bit. So the goal of this was to bring physician-led education back out to the pre-hospital folks. If you've heard EMS Challenge, you can probably roll your eyes when I say this, but I think that the work that EMS providers do is physician-level care in the field. The difference is they don't have the resources from the hospital, the support, the financial knowledge that they need to do that. So hopefully we, with EMS Challenge, we can bring that physician input back into that to give you the guidance that you guys need to do a better job. Not that you're not doing a good job, but to give you the resources to do the job that you want to do.
All right. Tell us who all is involved in sponsoring, getting it going.
Yeah, sure. So initially this was just me. I was doing it one day a month at the Highlands Hospital in Birmingham. But then Chief Ward got involved with that. We started doing some streaming components to it. And now we're blessed to have the Alabama Fire College support us. And we've been able to take this from, one class a month in the Brems region to all over the state where we can do physician-led lectures and then do skills labs. I think the lectures are great. They are not everything you need, though, for an EMS provider, but it kind of gives you some insight into what we as a docs think or expect, or what happens on the inside of the hospital that you may want to hear so you can learn from that. The skill labs is where I think the meat is, right? So because now we can practice hands-on skills, and the providers get a chance to ask us doc questions that they're never asked in an open forum, right? So it's kind of laid back, good way to learn that way. The UAB, the Emergency Medicine Residency Program, has been a great supporter of ours. So now I'm able to get one senior resident a month. They come out and train with us, give the lectures and do the skills. And these guys are top notch. They're all good people, just like you all are. But they're right at the cutting edge of the new things. So they'll teach me things sometimes too. Just don't tell them I said that. So you may have to kind of edit that one out too. Sorry. But, it's just a great collaboration. Whether you're an EMS provider, or you're a nurse in the ER, or you're a physician, the same patients are being seen, the same pathologies, the same treatments. The difference is the resources you have, the scope of practice, and the knowledge. So we got to bridge this all together to have good patient outcomes.
And I know this year at the conference, as just in previous years, we've done Alabama EMS Challenge has been live here from the conference. Tell us a little bit what folks saw at the EMS Challenge this year.
Yeah, sure. So we had Dr. Cooter. He's one of our second-year residents come out. He talked about emergencies. He's actually kind of help out with the cadaver lab going on right now. So great resource for these folks. And then we also had our fellows, Dr. Sullivan and Dr. Kirby are here lecturing. These guys have been trained in ER. They're board eligible to be certified in emergency medicine. And they decided to spend an extra year of training to get involved in pre-hospital care. We've had some other residents here as well. Dr. Ahmed Saeed, who's one of our senior residents, he actually spoke last year with the EMS Challenge here. He did a lecture today. So we have a lot of UAB showing down here now, which is fantastic.
Well, Doc, you have a passion for pre-hospital care. So tell us a little bit about your background and how that came about.
Yeah, sure. Well, I guess the passion is, if you ever seen someone die of a preventable death, it kind of changes the way you think about things, right? So I think, again, the goal of mainstream healthcare is to provide the educational support, the training, the resources so that we keep our patients alive the whole way through the care, right? But my background, I started out as an EMT, took a class in Vicksburg, Mississippi, did not work as an EMT. I ended up finishing a nursing degree in Mississippi, did about 14 years of ER and flight nursing, and then thought about going back to medical school. I kind of joke because, one of the things that made me go back is you look at some doctors and you look at them and think, man, I'm never going to be that smart or intelligent or passionate about things. And then you look at some and like, that guy can't tie his own shoes. And I'm like, I can tie my shoes. So you just kind of, write a check and go in debt and go to med school. But it's been a great journey. And I was able to do my residency at UAB, and I stuck around and did a fellowship in EMS. And I've been there now since 2010. It's a great place to be. The cool thing is the support that the Department of Emergency Medicine gives us as far as training these residents now. The other cool thing that's pretty good is the School of Medicine there. I'm able to teach a EMT class to our first-year med students. And some people look at me like it's kind of crazy. Why am I teaching the EMT curriculum to medical students? But it's because a couple of reasons. One, these guys need to learn those life-saving skills that our EMTs do. We talk about EMT. I took a basic EMT class, right? EMT is not basic anymore. There's nothing basic there. So these docs need to learn those skills to manage emergencies like they should. The other thing is it's going to kind of fix that educational gap we have in the future. So, in 10 years from now, the students that I'm teaching are going to be medical directors or chairs of certain subspecialties, and hopefully they'll have a good memory of that firefighter or EMT teaching them how to do a BIAD or something, and they'll get us back in to help train us and help us continue to grow EMS in our state.
And I know this year we had a medical directors panel, and we saw physicians from all over the state, most of them with an EMS background, and that was really good to see. And I think you were the moderator for that. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the medical directors panel we saw?
Yeah, I think that went very well. The feedback I got from the audience was great, also from the medical directors. I think it's good for the EMS provider to look up and see that, even us cool physicians, I think cool anyway, right? We have calls or patient care scenarios that make us uncomfortable, that make us rethink through things. This is not an exact science, so it's good for everybody to see the human side of the medical director, and also to see that there are medical directors out there that want to be actively involved and are passionate about EMS care as well.
How would somebody go about getting involved with the Alabama EMS Challenge?
Yeah, so all you want, if you're looking for us to come out and help with your educational program at your agency, we're happy to do that. You can reach out to us. You can reach out us at the Alabama EMS Challenge at Gmail. You can also find my contact information on the BRIMS website. It's also on the Fire College. So we're currently, I think we're booked out through July of 26, but would love to come out there. The Fire College supports us. We're going to come all over the state. So happy to come out that way. Just reach out to us.
And that's no place is too big, no place is too small.
No, not at all. So if you're a volunteer EMS agency and you need help with education, we're happy to come out that way. You see the same patients in these small rural places that you do in the urban areas. You just don't have those resources. So we're happy to come out. If you're a big agency and you already have a great educational curriculum, you don't just want something different or physician input into this, we're happy to do that as well. Our goal is not to step on toes, but provide an option for you for educational opportunities. EMS Challenge should not be your only source of education. That's not right either. We should kind of help facilitate what you're doing and kind of take some of the load off your EMS officers so that you can do in-house station, agency-specific training, and then we can kind of hit the core things for you. And then we can give you that physician input when we show up in person. You can ask those questions that you will not ask in public.
Now, if an agency wants to schedule Alabama EMS Challenge, is there a cost to an agency or anything?
No, sir. We don't charge anything for this. Like I said, we're sponsored by the Fire College, and then Chief Ward and myself would donate our time. And then the residency program allows our residents to travel with us to help with this education. So no cost. We have to have, the Wi-Fi to stream this stuff out. Would like to have food when we come there, but if you can't get it, we can get it as well. We know how to do that. So we're just, the goal of this is to improve patient care throughout the state. That's the goal.
And you guys hit each region a couple of times a year pretty much, right?
Yes, sir. But yep, we do. There's some times of the year we can't hit certain regions because we don't have a sponsoring agency. So, but my goal would be to hit every region of the state every year. So historically what we've done is the second Wednesday of the month, we stay in the Birmingham area, and the fourth Wednesday of the month, we're somewhere else in the state. So that gives us, 12 opportunities to be somewhere else in the state. And that could be a large agency or small agency, or it could be a conglomerate, right? So a group of folks getting together. So we want to help out. If you're interested, we're happy to come out.
I know we're always, we've supported Alabama EMS Challenge at Irondale a couple of times. It has been great turnout, great opportunity to learn. I always appreciate Dr. Ferguson and his fellows, residents coming out. Always a great learning experience, especially like you said. When you have a physician, you're actually talking to a physician, so it kind of takes that scariness off of it because you actually have a physician right in front of you talking and learning right there with you. So it's always a good opportunity. Like Dr. Ferguson said, reach out to Alabama EMS Challenge. And where can they reach out to you at?
Yeah, so they can find us on Facebook. We're on YouTube. I think we're on Twitter. We may be, or not Twitter, sorry, X. Yeah, sorry, I'm going to get in trouble for that one too, aren't I? Or you can reach out to us through BRIMS. My contact information on the BREB website, so just reach out to us. We're happy to schedule an event.
And these are, like you said, talked about on YouTube and whatnot. They can go back and watch these videos later and still get Con Ed credit, right?
That is correct. So if we can give EMS, nursing, or physician Con Ed credit, free Con Ed credit, if you do our live or online while we're live. If you go back to YouTube, we can give state EMS credit as well. And again, no charge to that.
Well, Dr. Ferguson, I appreciate your time being on the show with us, and always glad to have you here.
Yes, sir. Thanks a lot.
All right, so we've got Jamie Gray sitting at the table. So tell us who you are and how you got involved in the conference, Jamie.
Hey, I'm Jamie Gray. I'm the State EMS Director, and our involvement with the conference started long before me, honestly, coming into this role. And it really evolved into what we have today with the work of the conference committee and all the organizations coming together. We used to do separate leadership conferences and things of that nature across the state with the different organizations. And really, we just decided one day that why are we duplicating our efforts? Why don't we pool our efforts together and have one big, large collaboration of conferences or collaborative conference? And ever since we did that, with the help of obviously the conference committee, because they're the backbone of everything that's happening this week and all the months and months of preparation that starts before this, they are the ones that get this put together. This kind of came to fruition about the time I was coming into state work. And it was just an amazing thing to start seeing evolve. And I got to go to some of the separate conferences before it was combined. And once this was combined together, it was just like an all of a sudden much needed mesh that's finally happened and has grown throughout the years. And I'm ecstatic to see where it's taken us.
Well, Jamie, as far as from the state's perspective, what all does the Office of EMS, how are they involved in the conference itself? Like what does your staff do and things like that?
So we try to bring as many staff that we can to try to help out volunteering wise. We always need scanners at the doors for CEU hours. We need people helping with snacks and drinks, and we need people. We actually have a vendor booth as well, so people can come ask the state questions and try to get those answers that they can't get or don't want to get over the phone or an email. They can sit down and talk to us. If they need to, we can find a spot and we can go sit down and have a one-on-one conversation, which a lot of people like more than they do talking over a phone or talking over email. They like that face-to-face, and we do too. We try to get out as much as we can during the year and try to talk to people, but, being down here is kind of a more relaxed environment, and we can try to, solve the world's problems while we're here.
So how many of the world's problems have you solved this year?
Way too many, hopefully. But no, we've had some really good conversations while we were here, and everything from legislative issues to provider service issues to honestly even complaints and things of that nature that we were able to work out with not having to go through a lot of the red tape processes that do exist. And our staff is always great to lend that helping hand and kind of tag along with this. I'm kind of pulled in 15 different directions when I'm here. So I try to do as much volunteering with the conference staff as I can. But unfortunately, it kind of leads into me getting pulled into a meeting here or there, or who knows where for that matter.
Well, you want to go ahead and share your cell phone number so everybody can just contact you individually with their issue?
Absolutely. Absolutely. My number is, what was Josh Mason's number?
And so if there are any questions, anything coming out, if they have questions, how can they contact the office to follow up with anything as far as anything EMS related?
So there's a multitude of ways to get in touch with us or to have conversations with us, whether it be phone, email, in person, whatever. Our office is always open to anybody. We're at 208 Legends Court in Prattville, Alabama. We have a main office line. It's 334-290-3088. And that'll get you our front desk. You tell them what you need, or you tell the lady at the front desk what you need. She'll get you to the right person. Hopefully, if they can't answer it, they'll try to get you to somebody else. We all have email addresses, and I could list you everybody's email address, but it's really our first name dot our last name, and then the at adph.state.al.us. And most of the forms that we have, if it's a complaint, it'll have the right person to send that to. If it's a general question that you just want to ask us, they're on our website. If you'll go down to the bottom and you'll have a link that says contact us. And if you fill that form out, most people don't understand where that goes, but that actually comes directly to me. And I'm able to get that email and decipher who it needs to go to, if anybody but me. But I'm able to decipher and disseminate that to whoever it needs to go to and get you an answer. And hopefully it's the right answer. And if it's not, we'll work on that. If it is and it still don't understand what's going on, then we'll try to figure out how to help you.
Well, What do you see on the horizon for EMS in Alabama?
There's so many things on the horizon that it's really kind of hard to see one behind the other because they're so stacked up. But we're working on so many different things that EMS in Alabama and EMS as a whole across the country is, evolving into so many different things. And there's so many different, it's no longer just EMT, advanced, and paramedic anymore. There's so many different add-ons. There's so many different levels of care as far as provider services go. There's so many different programs. And unfortunately, there's so many negative things that are happening. And I say negative in a loose manner of, hospitals losing obstetric care and, some of these rural hospitals having to close and some people having to go from, if they were this level trauma system, they're having to downgrade to a lower level trauma system and things of that nature. So we're trying to mitigate some of that with the legislature, and we're trying to get some funding for EMS. We're trying to get some just tangible equipment on some of these rural ambulances that we can actually use and not just be black and white papers that are put out that somebody can read of, oh, we recognize there's a problem, thank you for your service kind of deal. We actually want to put tools in people's hands and tools in people's mind that, and when I say that, I mean as far as training and continued education for all kinds of different things, whether it be obstetric care, or whether it be trauma care, or whether it be anything, just continued competency in what we always do and what we need to know, but then advancing that competency even to other levels. I mean, if you really look at Alabama, we have surpassed the national scope of practice on every level. And which, by the way, on a national level, that's something that's getting revamped as we speak and are beginning the process of getting revamped. And so is the clinical guidelines, which we are definitely a part of. Most people have the impression, and I always like to try to emphasize this, that most people have the impression of how far Alabama is behind. And in all actuality, if anybody out there were able to come to some of these national meetings with me, you would see how many people want to sit down with us and discuss how our processes go because they want to model what we're doing. And we are so far ahead of some people in some things. Now, we are behind on a few things, but we're so far ahead on some things that people want to mimic what Alabama's doing, even internationally. And it's a fascinating thing to see that. And unfortunately, our everyday providers don't get to see that.
Can you speak on some of those things that other states are trying to recognize, or even internationally, what we're doing in Alabama, what is being mirrored in other places?
So one of the biggest things and one of the most things on the forefront is our trauma system. Our acute health system, which is through our office, that is managed with a trauma system, stroke system, and future cardiac system that should be coming online shortly. We are still the only state that has that current system in place, and at least a system to that in depth. The only one that's come close to us so far is West Virginia. West Virginia modeled our system, but they took it as more of a regional type system. They have regional communication centers, and we are still the only ones that have a statewide communication center. And our trauma communication center is one that is very highly looked upon from other states and from other state legislatures and even the federal legislature.
Is there anything else beside the ATCC, the Alabama Trauma Communication Center? Is there anything else in protocols, in things that we do, especially on the ground level, that are being mimicked or mirrored by other states?
So protocols, definitely. A lot of people look at our protocols and some will look at it and say we've lost our mind, and some will look at it and say, hey, how do we get that done?
Especially with the amount that is Category A now, or can be performed without talking to a doc.
And so my last national meeting that I went to, I mentioned that a lot of our stuff is Category A, so not calling med control. And so I have to mention, because Category A is an Alabama thing, so I have to explain what that is, and their eyes just get really big, and they want to know how it works, how well it works, how do we do it, because some are still under the Mother May I system, and they have to call for everything that they do.
And how did that merge from going from, I know when I started 20 plus years ago, you had to call from everything to starting a line to giving D50, and here we've advanced, especially in the last 5 to 10 years. How did that progression take place?
It was a slow progression. We slowly kind of took things from a category B, which is, you have to call medical control, to a category A, one major procedure at a time. And then we got to a point where we were able to look at our entire protocols and say, we have confidence in our providers. We have confidence in our medical directors. We have confidence in our services. And we know that people will still screw up. They will do things. Nobody's perfect, things of that nature. But we know that we have the confidence in our people and the training that they have, that we can move to a system where we should cut the cord and let them make their own decisions and make the good decisions of how to treat the patient, because they know how to treat the patient. Let's stop delaying the treatment and stop delaying the care for the life-saving interventions. And I'll just use an example of needle decompression. I mean, if you get to a point where you need a needle decompression, I don't have time to pick up the phone and call somebody to ask and then get somebody on the phone that now has to go find somebody else that can actually answer the question. I don't have time to do all that. I need to be able to perform that procedure and move on.
And I know one of the biggest things I've seen is obviously ultrasound, the push for ultrasound, having whole blood and blood products on a lot of the units. Is there anything else you see on the forefront coming out, pushed out in the next 1 to 3 years that advances pre-hospital care?
There's always going to be something on the forefront, the new latest and greatest that we may not even know yet. But as of right now, the big pushes, like you said, are the whole blood and the ultrasound and things of that nature that we're really focusing on, and mainly the blood products. Like I mentioned earlier, the obstetric care and stuff like that is being pushed to get further training for EMS on how to deal with some of these difficult deliveries and things of that nature. If you have a hospital that's now losing its obstetric care or maternal care, or you have an individual, a patient that is in labor that has no prenatal care and now has a hospital that is potentially an hour away that we have to get to, how do we get them there in a timely fashion? How do we get them there efficiently, safely? And when I say safely, meaning the safe transport of mom. And if an imminent delivery is there and it does happen, how do we now safely transport the newborn? And then how do we transport the newborn as far as safely, but also how do we transport the newborn? I mean, we were always taught in school, keep them warm and move on. And that's fine for a 15-minute transfer. But when you get into the whole hour-long transport, that kind of stuff, there's other stuff that needs to be done. So we're looking at some funding sources and things of that nature from legislatures. And
what about like community paramedicine and those type programs? Where do you see that going in Alabama in the near future?
So that's really kind of a hard question, because community paramedicine and MIH has evolved so much from even when it just came out. And the true definition of it is depending on who you ask. And that's a national thing. So states have involved community paramedicine in their day-to-day operations. Us in Alabama, we have not, I won't say decided, but we've not found the best course of action to take for community paramedicine in Alabama yet. There are guidelines out there. They are in our operational guidelines that are found on our website that anybody can read and download and honestly utilize. So we've got it into statute of some things that they can do, kind of a model that they can follow. And it's in our operational guideline. It kind of mimics the statute with a few extra things, but it's actually not in rule yet. And it probably won't be in rule for a long time, just because we can't get a definitive understanding of what it needs to be in Alabama, because one size doesn't fit all. And what I need in Jackson, Alabama may not be what I need in Huntsville, Alabama.
And is there any way ground medics, services, who can they contact with help pushing some of this stuff? Are there any meetings in Montgomery or the EMS office that folks can attend to kind of voice concerns or help push some of this new legislation coming out?
So things that involve legislation, they can come to our office. We do have a lot. Well, I say we. I have a lot of time that I spend at the State House with the legislatures and the governor's office, and I talk to the governor's chief advisor on a near about a weekly basis. But if they really want to get involved and really want to get their opinions heard, obviously their representatives and senators need to get the word of what we're trying to do. But they also need to get involved with their associations. They need to get involved with their EMS association. Their provider service needs to get involved with the ambulance association, because I cannot praise them enough of the work that the ambulance association, the EMS association, and even the association of rescue squads, they've stepped in and started including EMS in a lot of their bills and pushes and asks and everything from the State House, that get involved with your association so your association knows what your concerns are. And then that association has, I'll take the ambulance association, for example, they have at least 3 people that are down there, one including a paid lobbyist that is there solely for EMS. And they are there to help us. And they're there to do the work that I can't, because we can't lobby from our office being a state agency. So we rely on the assistance of our associations to lobby on our behalf. We can educate, and we're glad to do that. And we do that a lot. But once you learn what we're pushing or what's trying to be pushed by the associations that hopefully you become a part of, you can then call your senators and representatives and say, hey, House Bill so-and-so or Senate Bill so-and-so, this really involves EMS and will really help us a lot. Is there anything I can do to help you better understand it? Is there anything I can help you do to help get this passed? How do we make this work? And there are so many senators and representatives that are really focused on EMS and wanting to help because they see the need.
And that's one of the great things about coming to the conference here. You get to interact with the Ambulance Association, you get to interact with the EMS Association, and there's a lot of people who are in office and seeking office who are down here trying to get face time with EMS providers. And so that's why anybody out there listening, you guys need to make plans to come to the conference next year.
Absolutely. Representative Ed Oliver has been down here. He is a very, very, very strong EMS advocate. Miss Katie Brett's been down here. But there's nothing that says that you can't come down here and have just as much face time with them, and not to mention it's at the beach.
That's right. Good food.
Yes, good food, good time, good education here. I appreciate Jamie being on the podcast with us, giving us a little bit of his time and a little bit of wisdom and what we can all get involved in. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Thank y'all.
Closing with today's episode, we have Nicole Good sitting at the table with us. She is one of our sponsors, and just kind of tell us about yourself, Nicole.
My name is Nicole. I am the Executive Director for the Critical Care Transport Medicine Conference and have been planning that for about the last 5 years. We're in our 34th year and excited to share in the education mission with Alabama EMS.
Your background is the Critical Care Conference. Coming here, spreading the word about that at the Alabama EMS Conference. What do you think about the conference so far?
So far, the conference is great. There's been a great turnout. Booth traffic has been wonderful. From a vendor perspective, it's very, very good conference. A lot of attention and interactions with attendees.
Is there any way, I know critical care is kind of a different world from kind of what we do here at the Alabama EMS Conference. Is there anything that kind of differences or takeaways from this conference that you see?
This conference has a great variety that honestly I'd like to incorporate some of the things into my conference as well that they do here. It has a great group of people. The volunteer help here is amazing, and I'm hoping I can recruit some volunteers like y'all have here and expand our services that we have.
Well, as a vendor, how do you feel the value of coming to this conference is?
Oh, the value is better here than I've had at other conferences where I don't really talk to many people, but there's been a lot of interest. The booth times that are dedicated for the vendor hall is very helpful, and it gives great exposure.
Now, you have a conference next year, going to give a plug for CCTMC. Now, you have a conference here in Orange Beach in 26. Is that correct?
That is correct. April 13 through 15 at the Perdido Beach Resort, right on the beach. Come check us out and get 12 and a half hours of continuing education credits.
Cool. And kind of give a plug for Perdido. That is one of our hosts for the awards dinner tonight. So I want to give a big thanks to Perdido providing that space for us tonight for the awards dinner.
Y'all be sure to come out, and we'll be presenting awards for The providers of the year, EMT, paramedic, educators, lifetime achievement, all those things will be presented on behalf of the EMS Association, the Ambulance Association, and the conference itself. So y'all be sure to come out. The price of the admission to the awards dinner is part of your conference registration, so you don't have to pay anything extra. You just show up. We'll be on the deck there at Perdido, so come and join us.
It's what, 6:30, Richard? 6:30 at Perdido Beach Resort. We'll see you there, and we're going to try to catch some folks live today at the conference. And again, thanks for Nicole coming on the show. You got any closing remarks, Richard?
Hey, if you guys are out and about, be sure to swing by the Ironed Out Media booth.
Absolutely.
All right, so again, how do we reach out? How do folks get in contact with CCTMC and get kind of signed up for that conference, Nicole?
Check us out at cctmc.net. We're also on Facebook under CCTMC, and you can sign up online and sign up for the different pre-conference workshops. We have ultrasound, we have mechanical ventilator. We have a lot of new things that we're going to be doing this year.
All right, thank y'all.
Well, that's it for today's episode. Thanks for tuning in to this special edition of the Alabama EMS Conference. If you enjoyed the conversation, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one. We got more great stories and insights coming your way.
Stay salty, stay safe.